And we are live. We're looking at the sun in 193 angstroms here. And give us 1 to 2 minutes of lead time. Allow some folks to join the live chat, and we will be right back. All right, lots of stuff to cover once again today. Let's cut the volume on this. Look at a different view. We're looking at about 8 hours and 15 minutes here. Solar activity. We see 0 sunspots. We saw one form yesterday and then quickly evaporate. So those umbra, and there were 2 of them, did not exist long enough to get named. Sunspot 2742 is yet to come into existence. And we are talking about this plage right here, which is reverse polarity, folks. That's a cycle 25 plage, and we are still keeping an eye on that due to the possibility that it may yet form into a sunspot. So it's always a possibility. These things can change magnetically with no warning, and that is what we're talking about. Welcome back, Purple Arrow. And we'll look at the colored magnetogram also so I can explain what I'm talking about when I say reverse polarity plage. A cycle 24 plage would have, due to the fact this is north of the solar equator, if this were a cycle 24 plage, you would expect to see the leading field be colored in yellow, associated with the south polar field. And this one, the leading field is green, associated with the north polar field. So that's officially a reverse polarity plage. And let's move on from there to the real-time solar wind. We see a sputtering phi angle here, currently around 252. Solar wind density at about around 5 protons per cubic centimeter right now, and the solar wind speed remains elevated at 529 or so kilometers per second. That is the coronal hole wind stream in which you are still likely located. If you are viewing from a different galaxy, or if you're originally from a different galaxy, please leave a comment. Next, we'll look at magnetosphere movies. Here's the velocity. We're actually seeing a very low velocity here as some higher waves come in, noted in orange. Next, we'll look at the density. This is the last 4 hours, folks, courtesy of Michigan. Shout out Michigan. If you're watching, leave a comment. And share in your student union building. Finally, here's the pressure. And it's a pretty steady situation now, as we haven't seen any major gyrations in the solar wind density or speed. So we see a fairly steady, stable magnetosphere. Let's look at ground perturbations here, as we typically do around this time. First, we'll look at the poles, and then the globe view. If we can get it to load, there we go. Did I click it? I think I clicked it. Okay, it's official. I've clicked it 3 times, and that equals 1 click. And something's hinky about this. Let's refresh the whole page. Try again. And there's the last 4 hours of the geospace ground perturbations, magnetic ones that is, from the poles looking down the Earth's Z fields. We do actually see some significant perturbations there in the southernmost portions of the Indian Ocean, as we typically do, as well as the Canadian North Pole. Remember, folks, we've got 2 North Poles. This polar excursion continues, and part of the reason why we view these every day is as a data archiving service. Here's the last 4 hours from the globe view, and we see those South Pole perturbations stretching into the Indian Ocean, as we typically do. As well as the ones over northeastern Canada. Not too much of a surprise to those who pay attention to this stuff. Next, we'll look at the total electron content here, as this will give you an idea of your GPS errors, and we don't expect to see very many. So we'll let that play through. Everybody's GPS is expected to be working very well today, as electron flux is quite low. Now let's talk about smAsho and the mission, which is to assist, study, and report on the unified formation, the ongoing formation, rather, of a unified theory of physics. Also to raise the awareness of the general public of the relationship between space, weather, and Earth effects. To connect and consult with media organizations to multiply our reach. To demonstrate cutting-edge proof of concept solutions to problems. To publish scientific papers in a multidisciplinary manner, to assist mankind by advancing the study of predictive phenomenon, and to not be ossified in our beliefs, and to treat those who are with love, respect, and inclusion to the scientific discussion. Shout out Dr. Robitaille if you're watching. Skype me. Thanks supporters and donors and patrons. Every little bit counts and makes a huge difference, believe it or not. So visit the links below the video in the description. As we move on to a health and wellness section, list of foods high in nitrites. Well, what are nitrites? Well, they're things that are in processed meats, such as bacon, salami, hot dogs. Now, you can get most versions of any kind of food, including even salami. You get the uncured kind, which are just as good. They just don't contain the preservatives. So here's a link from livestrong.com, a website no longer associated with Lance Armstrong, as he came out as a cheater, hurt everybody's credibility, and got fired from the board. Check out theveloshop.net and check out the BMC fleet. Some sweet bikes. And I wanted to pay a little attention to the road machine. Now, this is what they ride on the cobblestone sections, such as Paris-Roubaix and any cobblestone sections of the Tour de France. They tend to ride this bike instead of their team machine, as this one is a little bit more comfy. I did also want to note, check out the integrated headsets on these things. The way the frame and the headset are integrated with a fork, amazing stuff. And yeah, going with a Felt AR3, but it was tough to not pick a BMC, honestly. Their carbon is super good. So if you want to sponsor the team, or if you want to sponsor me personally, this is what the billboard space will look like. I've got space on things like shoe covers, helmet, gloves, and most of the bike space. Disc wheel is still up for grabs. So again, visit links in the description. If you want to sponsor the team, which is theveloshop.net, email me at smashomash@gmail.com. We can get you put on the jerseys. We've got 2 women that are on the Olympic long team and a world champion jersey wearer right now for the team sprint. So again, visit the links in the description. Help support the page, help support the channel, and keep these videos coming out. Let's look at the map. And I'm talking about the synoptic map. Today's by Cook. We see some apparent filaments here in the on the east and northeast. Barely even a reference to that reverse polarity plage that we talked about. SolarHam is listing the plage. There's the plage listed on the colored magnetogram there. Shout out SolarHam. Let's look at the LASCO C2 as we haven't for a couple days. This is a 48-hour GIF. Some people say GIF. I say GIF. I prefer to refer to GIF as the peanut butter. And apparently the guy that invented the software format calls it GIF. I really don't care. Anyway, KP has come down to 4. We were at unsettled conditions yesterday when we streamed. Also check out spaceweather.com, covering noctilucent clouds and so on. I would note the 10.7 centimeter radial flux has plateaued again at 68 SFU, solar flux units. So that's solar minimum conditions, give or take. It had dropped down to 67, I believe, there for a day or two. So solar minimum conditions rage on. Let's check out spaceweathernews.com and make sure we're refreshed. It's refreshing to be refreshed. And that's not a pun or a segue. X-ray flux is flatlined. Magnetometer is looking in the weak range, as forecasted on the Gong 2 a couple of days ago. We've got bunched up plasma, and we do have an active region rising. So the solar activity is going to pop up. We see the electron dip is not as low as it was yesterday or the day before. So we can expect an increase in electron flux. Surface charging is very minor. Surface charging over Central America and Northern South America. Nothing to write home about there. The F2 layer is looking pretty normal here. A little on the discharge side, on the nighttime side, but again, nothing too comment worthy there. There's the Aurora Borealis forecast, quite minimal, and here's the Aurora Australis forecast. Usually a little bigger than the Borealis, and once again today. And we're on an article that we covered yesterday. I must have forgotten to close the tab. Let's look at cosmic rays. We're going to look at Apatit and Barentsburg first. Recent uptick happening at Barentsburg, basically while the video was being prepped. I'm sorry, at Apatit. Here's Barentsburg. Next, we'll go to Athens. Mexico City. Click through these as quickly as possible and keep the video as short as possible. Small uptick there at Mexico City. Next, Moscow. Moscow looks like it's plateaued over the past couple of days. And lastly, Oulu and DOMC and DOMB Antarctica. There's Oulu. Pretty flat over the past couple of days there. DOMC, similar to Oulu, despite being on the other side of the planet. And also DOMB, similar to Oulu. So no real news in cosmic rays. There are links in the description to that. Let's skip transients as we covered it pretty in-depth yesterday. If you're interested in looking up transients and radio astronomy and so on, and I highly suggest you do, if you want to understand what's really going on in the universe, check out the Neil Gorel Swift Observatory, the Swift/Burst Alert Telescope Hard X-ray Transient Monitor. It's good times, and you'll be glad you did. Here's the Gong 2 from the top view ecliptic plane field plot. And the weakness in the magnetometer, the GOES magnetometer, is caused by this bunched up plasma right here. We're going to come out of that. We're probably coming out of that already. And we're going to go into these straight field lines. So we're going to see big magnetometer spikes as the solar wind drops off, the coronal hole wind stream, that is. So look for that to happen throughout the day today. And then we're going to get back into weak magnetometer once we get to this bunched up area, although there is some activity rising too. So we don't want to forecast more than we're capable of. And that's why we forecasted what we just did, because I like to be correct. I don't like to tell people stuff that's incorrect. Let's look at the Stereo A Core 2 space weather beacon. As it is possible to have coronal mass ejections without any X-ray flares. Let's let that load. And there's the most recent data from Stereo A. And part of what we were just looking at on the Gong 2 can be seen here as well. This area right here is the next bunched up area of plasma. And that's actually going to weaken the GOES magnetometer readings after they strengthen. So the GOES magnetometer is going to gain strength, and then it's going to weaken again, go back to a range where around where it is now. I don't want to get too much into the magnetohydrodynamics, but I would like to revisit this story covered yesterday about the influence of planetary tidal forces on solar activity. That's right, planetary alignments seem to affect the sunspot cycle. Many of you have known this for ages or suspected it for ages. So, very interesting article. Now, are the planets controlling the sun? Not necessarily. We're corroborating the planetary orbits with the sunspot cycles, and perhaps the orbits and the cycles are caused by the same phenomenon. We can't necessarily infer a causal relationship, but it is interesting to realize that these planetary alignments happen every 11.08 years. So very similar to the sunspot cycle. If you're not familiar with where stuff's located, Milky Way galaxy team for the win. And shout out to Eugene Bagashov. I swear I'm going to get to you. There are the locations of stuff. Let's advance it 1 week. So, Earth and Jupiter are heading into a conjunction. As Mercury swings around, Mars is very lonely, and Venus is about to appear on the LASCO C3. Know the difference between your anus? Know the difference between your anus and a hole in the ground, and a black hole in space. This fictional astronomy segment brought to you by Neil deGrasse Tyson. And possibly Bill Nye, the nonsense guy. So if you get up before dawn, you should see Jupiter and Saturn up there on the ecliptic. Venus is just rising, and man, oh man, if you're on the east coast of the US right now, send a photo of Venus coming over the horizon. It's going to be amazing. Coming in right behind the moon, so bright you'll be able to see them both. Shout out spaced out viewers. Speaking of spaced out viewers, let's see who's viewing. Guten Morgen, Harry. And smAsho staff. And Terrence. And Korgrog Grogo. Korgrog Grogo, where is where you keep all your stuff? Follow us on Instagram if you like. See some more personal stuff, such as yesterday when I was out and about at my job number 2.
It's become that time once again, our time in the universe. I got myself nice and lost, 26.5 miles in. What a better place to be lost. Check it out. I don't think it's technically espionage.
Anyway, the reason I was talking about espionage is because I saw some national team athletes there from Norway and from Canada. And one of them I kind of know on Instagram. She's a regular participant in the UCI racing, which starts this Friday. So if you want to visit if you want to have a staycation in the Lehigh Valley, the World Racing starts this Friday night on the track. So you want to see World Cup points get won and lost, visit Valley Preferred Cycling Center, and Friday night it all begins. Anyway, there's the ride I did yesterday. Don't try to stalk me. You won't be able to figure out where I was. Anyway, follow us on Instagram. Follow me on Instagram, I should say. This isn't really a collaborative effort. That's just me. Also, check us out on Twitter. If you've got friends who only use Twitter, for instance, and I'm not going to tweet or interact there. Facebook, not going to really interact here very much either. So sorry about that. I just don't have time for social media very much, except to get out these videos. So please help us do so, as we're not yet at 1,400 subscribers, nor do we view that as a milestone. So check us out at facebook.com/smAsho. Yes, you will be censored and shadow banned and so on, thanks to Mark and his declining share prices. Also check out minds.com, the open source social media that will not censor you, and at which you can also gain crypto if you are popular. I've got over 400,000 views there. And also our newest page on Gab, only 5 posts in. Check us out there. We are looking to get more involved on that one and possibly actually even interact if it's a good platform. Haven't evaluated it yet, but we're there nonetheless. So please like and subscribe on YouTube, which is where the most content and exclusive content will be. And I'm logged in right now. So this video right here, Proof of Concept Indoor Grows, that's actually this video. So just view the indoor farming video, which only has 63 views. And it looks like we've got 7 watching now. So thanks for tuning in, live viewers. And thanks for making an effort to understand the distinction between your ass and a hole in the ground. And oh man, that is one hole. Look at this hole. I don't remember where I got it from. I think I just looked up sinkhole. I mean, if that's not a gateway to hell, I don't know what is. But who knows how deep that thing is? I think it was actually hundreds of feet deep, like 100 meters, if I remember correctly. Now, check out this article. It's fascinating. And Ben Davidson's going to cover it later today. Consider that my soothsaying forecast. Scientists find telling early moment that indicates a coming megaquake. That's right. A GPS indication suggesting that we can tell the difference between a 7 and a 9 magnitude quake due to slip pulse something or other. Now, I'm not an expert on seismology. I only know a little bit about it, but the article is fascinating, and it has to do with ground-based GPS monitors. Now, having only 10 to 15 seconds of lead time is still a good thing, folks, because people on the coast, 10 to 15 seconds can mean the difference between you surviving a tsunami and you not surviving a tsunami. I mean, 1 minute of lead time is a big deal. 10 to 15 seconds is still a big deal. And anyway, interesting article. Links should already be in the description. Let's make sure. And we got more to cover, so stay tuned, folks. And thanks for being on the Smash team. Please bear with me for 1 minute. And I will be right back. All right. Folks got to see some behind the scenes stuff going on there. Check it out. That's pretty soon. It'll only be on Patreon. But for now, let's cover earthquakes. Looks like an earthquake uptick, as well as some north central Australian quakes kicking off. We're only going to cover 4s and up. We see another 4.2 at Chile at depth. Blot echo quakes in South America continue. Heads up South America for a larger quake at the surface. 4.7 in the Mid-Atlantic Ridge. Used to be rare. Now we see about 1 a month. 4.6 in Mexico at depth. Shout out Mexico for a quake at the surface of higher magnitude. Here's a 4.2 at Japan, also at depth. So a rash of deep quakes starting yesterday and continuing through the day today. 4.5 at Indonesia. 5.0 at the Mid-Atlantic Ridge. Again, we've been seeing quakes there regularly. And a 5.2 in the same location. 4.2 at New Zealand. Shout out. That one looks like it's pretty centrally located. If you felt that one, please leave a comment. Tell us if grandma's family portrait rattled. How about a 4.2 at Kodiak, Alaska? 4.4 at New Zealand at depth. Let us know if that one's been downgraded, New Zealanders. I know we've got a few viewers. Here's a 5.0 at 38 kilometers south-southeast of Les Barons Rock. Kind of out in the ocean there. Let us know if you felt that one. I doubt it. Here's a 4.9 at Vanuatu. 4.7 at Uzbekistan. 5.1 at Indonesia. 4.1 at depth at Japan. Heads up Japan. Leave us a comment if you're viewing from Japan. Larger quake projected at the surface there. Watch out for low pressure systems. 4.8 at Peru, also at depth. So pretty much the whole northern portion of South America. Seeing deep quakes. 5.0 in Central Australia. That's the weirdest quake we've seen. Check it out. Shout out Australian viewers. It looks like it's in the middle of nowhere. Let us know if you felt that one. It's pretty big. Man, that's really in the middle of nowhere, huh? Not an expert on Australian geography, folks. So it looks like we have 2 quakes in the same place there. One just came in the past few minutes. Holla. Man. Man, where were we? We're lost. All right, there we go. Man, so big earthquake uptick, folks. 4.9 at the Atacama Desert. Also at depth, nearly blot echo range, 94.5 kilometers. Here's a 4.1 at the Northern Mariana Islands. One of the deepest parts of the ocean. At depth, 468 kilometers, I might add. The first time I've seen one of that depth in that location. 4.2 at Afghanistan as the Middle East. That's not a word, ETH. As the Middle East earthquake swarm continues. Here's the 4.6 at East Timor at depth. So heads up, everybody in earthquake-prone zones. You're getting deep quakes. Be prepared for a larger quake at the surface. Let's move on to windy.com. Pressure maps play through. And get this video complete. So we can do all kinds of things associated with the food supply chain. So watch for low pressures in your area, especially weird looking ones that go the wrong way, such as east to west instead of west to east. And let me draw on the earthquake risk zones, especially these areas. Be prepared for a large quake as we're seeing deep quakes for 2 days in a row. Solar activity is very low. We see some activity rising, but For instance, if a coronal hole pops up, there's going to be a tidal force. So coronal holes and sunspots, they kind of have an opposing force in some ways, magneto-hydrodynamically speaking. So if you're in those areas, please have an earthquake plan, a bug out bag, so that you can at least be an asset and not a liability during a disaster. We implore you. Geez. Windy.com's got a great mobile app, by the way, and it should be installed on your smartphone. I mean, that's my advice. Etna volcano back on the list. Lava flow from Etna. Check it out. And you think they'd have the photo there, but that's probably not a real photo. Anyway, lava flow started at Etna around 3 a.m. local time, so very recently. Also, we see Karimsky producing a 24,000-foot plume, so that's back on the list, big time. Eruption at Shivaluch. Suwanisajima back on the list, producing a 6,000-foot plume there. Takono exploding with a 7,000-foot plume. Revenador. Occasional emissions. Sabancaya produced an explosive puff to 27,000 feet. And another one on the list, Ethiopian volcano Afdera. Okay, Afdera. Afdera, you realize that this is a exploding you a freaka outa, because you go, what? Why? Geez, I didn't know that was going to happen. Where the heck is that one located? Got to zoom in on that one, folks. Because that is funky. Really? You can't find coordinates? You kidding me? You can't find coordinates, Google. What the hell is wrong with you? I guess if I type the name in, that'll be sufficient. Google can't handle coordinates. That's a new one to me. Anyway, there's the location of that volcano. South of Lake Afrera. Wow, what a wasteland that is. Check out that area. All right, so located in Northeast Africa. Jeez. New volcano on the list, folks. All right, enough of that. Look at the weather.gov map as we see floods everywhere. Giving a shout out to everybody in the central U.S., hoping your plantings happen soon and that the water subsides soon and that things stop freezing in northern Wisconsin and things stop flooding where I'm currently sitting. Also, we see hot temperatures in South Carolina with red flag warners. Hot, dry temperatures down there. Out South Carolinians. I don't know what I'm on here. Oh, there we go. U.S. Doppler radar. Courtesy AccuWeather.com, we see a crazy convergence line going from Tennessee to Texas, as well as one going across Missouri and Arkansas. Heavy storms in Wisconsin and Illinois. Look at the water vapor map right after we talk about storm-related fatalities, as 13 days in a row have featured tornadoes in the U.S. If you weren't aware, 13 days in a row. And we have a flash flood watch in effect where I currently am. I plan to drive through some standing water today in a 4x4 truck that I don't own. Lightning maps. That's lightningmaps.org, by the way. And we see Chicago just got done getting hit by lightning. And so did San Antonio. Shout out if you had a thunderstorm. If you're in Austin, break out lightningmaps.org and you will be able to calculate the air pressure based on lightning propagation times. If you don't believe me, try it out. You'll be amazed. If you don't know what I'm talking about, I can't help you. We're not trying to be weather snobs. If the channel's too advanced, tune out. Here's that convergence over Texas. We hope you all get a respite, as it has been a weather mess. A late spring 2 years in a row, following 2 extra harsh winters featuring record snowfall, 27 to 2018 winter, as well as record snowfall, 2018 to 2019 winter. Late springs both years, late plantings, crop losses. Finally priced into the market 2 months after we started warning of this. Oh man, we wish it would stop raining in Texas. I know there's a lot of planting to do. Hopefully some of it farther north has been done for a while. Shout out, let us know the progress. Leave a comment. If you are home gardening, commercial farming, involved in the food supply chain, or whatever, let us know the situation. Let's talk software. Software, something used or associated with, usually contrasted with hardware, such as programs for a computer, materials for use with audio-visual equipment, stuff that ain't the hardware. Let's use it in a sentence. Organizations such as Google, Facebook, Twitter, and Netflix ought to learn to author
software.
Some companies already know how to do this, such as Brave.com, who's created the Brave browser on their quest to fix the internet, while certain other companies try their hardest to ruin the internet, the source of nearly all information ever known to mankind, causing colleges and universities to be obsolete. The internet. Avoid companies that are ruining it, and patronize companies who are fixing it, such as these great people, the Brave team. And I believe that's the entire team, believe it or not. Brave.com, install a real browser and get rid of the junkware, spyware, and stop using Google as a verb, because DuckDuckGo is a real search engine that won't track you. It won't store your personal information. It won't follow you around with ads. And even out of private browsing, it still won't track you. It'll also give you objective search results and will not behave like a political hack. Here's a Google article for you, Christian Westbrook. Satellite images show fields in northwest Syria on fire as civilians are getting killed there and crops are getting burned. So there's a pretty good one. This is orchards and olive groves in northwest Syria. Add it to the list. It's the south of Idlib province. So 250,000 people have been uprooted, 229 civilians killed, and 727, quote, others, end quote. Because remember, there are known knowns, known unknowns, and unknown unknowns. Here's a known known: burning fields. Add it to the list, Christian. And when I say list, I mean iceagefarmer.com/map. Links in the description to this. Also, global crop loss map. Let's see if he's got it on there. Use control plus scroll. Okay. I don't know where Idlib province is, but I'm going to try. Is it going to tell me? Idlib province. I have no freaking idea. Shout out Afif family. Adnan, Sam, Deb, if you're watching, leave a comment. Let us know about burning crops if you know anything about it. I know y'all head to Syria like twice a year. Adnan, if you're in Syria now, please leave a comment. Check out some more articles here. Techno-tyranny, the iron-fisted authoritarians of a surveillance state. What are we talking about? We're talking about big tech. Anyway, here's an article on Zero Hedge for further reading about the tyranny of big tech and how they're ruining the internet, or trying to. They just won't succeed because there are too many smart people preventing them. They have teamed up with governments, and it's far too late for these desiccated corpses to try to take over the world, but they're still going to try to. And these companies are zombies, and I mean Google, Facebook, Twitter, etc. Also Apple. Desiccated corpse with a lot of cash on hand, which is very scary, because nothing's scarier than a billionaire zombie. Bilderberg 2019 meeting details revealed. Here's their agenda. 1, a strategic, stable order. Stable strategic order. 2, what's next for Europe? Globalism. Globalism. Alex Jones called me, and he told me it's globalism. Just kidding. That's never going to work. 3, climate change and sustainability. Did they think the planet's warming? 4, China. 5, Russia. 6, the future of capitalism. As if they have a choice about the future of capitalism. Nice try. It's interesting to suggest that perhaps they're talking about global socialism, which is a hilarious idea. 7, Brexit, a smart idea. 8, the ethics of artificial intelligence. 9, the weaponization of social media. The weaponization of social media. Really? Pretty sure we were doing that when MySpace was a thing and Facebook didn't exist yet. I think you guys are about 2 decades behind Bilderbergs. Have fun with that. 10, the importance of space. I can't even explain how stupid that is as an agenda, since everything in the universe is in space. It's like saying the importance of reality or the etymology of words. 11, cyber threats, such as big tech trying to ruin the internet. Let's go back to the sun before big tech ruins the internet and shuts down this stream, because they're pissed that I'm aware that they're trying their best to ruin the internet. Well, what happened here? We got old data. Big tech. Is that your fault, big tech? We're going from 0 hour until, did you see that? It only showed me the 8-hour time frame. That was real. I had to hit refresh for some reason. I'll get you, big tech. By the way, Microsoft also teams up with the government. So we got some big filaments here coming up over the east. And let's zoom in on that a little bit. Pretty good sun pornography for you there as this active region rises. And this plage had umbra for a tiny period of time yesterday, but not enough of a period of time to get named. So what's going on in the comments? Yeah, Korgrog, there's an interesting article about how NASA came out with a pump video to pump some moon voyage that will never happen. I forget where that one was located. That one might be on Zero Hedge. You'll find it though if you look. Just do a search for pardon the all caps. I guess I'm allowed to type all caps in my own chat. $170 million solar farm? Dude. Wow. You mean $170 million solar farm? We need units to understand what you've said. Thanks for the info, though. That's fascinating. Fusion is already here. It's just not commercial yet, Korgrog. A crustalanche. I like that word. That should be in Merriam-Webster. Dear Merriam-Webster, new word, crustalanche. Because that's exactly what it is. Thank you for affirming my love of the Windy app, Terrence. Love that Windy app. It's so good. It's so good. Interesting chats today in the live stream. We got to get out of here. I'm going to try to get through all of it before I cut this thing out. I'm trying to keep it as short as possible here. I think we need fossil fuels because we are not ready to roll out the other stuff yet. The gas attacks, absolutely fake. There's all kinds of debunkings of the gas attacks. I was saying hours after they were reported that the Syrian government did not do them. And it's because, not only because I understand the tactics of it and the strategy of it, but because I have people inside in Syria. I know a guy who goes there and he travels all around once or even twice a year. And he's perfectly safe while he's there because he knows where to go and where not to go and what to do and what not to do and who to associate with and who not to associate with. And believe me, he's got more insight than the AP or CNN does in terms of what's happening in Syria. I don't cover it too much because I don't want to really make an issue of it. But let's just say I don't want the U.S. involved in Syria. Let's close it out with the colored magnetogram. And we're just looking at that reverse polarity plage there. And that is about it. It's about time to get out of here. So thanks for tuning in, folks. Thanks for leaving comments. Please don't forget to like and subscribe if you haven't done so. We don't view 1,400 subscribers as any milestone or anything. We are approaching our 1-year anniversary of a space weather video or 2 or 3 or 4 every single day. So leave us a comment about a 1-year space weather special. I'll have to put together a whole bunch of clips and highlights and so on. So thanks again, donors, subscribers, etc. When you're staring at the sun, don't drink it. If you drink, stare at the sun anyway. Just don't drive. And since it'll never be now again, may the solar wind be at your back and the atherosclerosis absent from your veins.